You won't believe what happened when an entitled HOA Karen tried to shut down my cabin business, only to end up face-to-face with the FBI's most powerful guest. It all started on a crisp autumn weekend in the mountains. My cabin rental was fully booked, families arriving to escape city chaos. The smell of pine lingered in the air. Kids ran with marshmallows ready for the fire pit, and everything seemed perfect until Karen showed up. Now, this wasn't just any neighbor. Karen was the self-proclaimed HOA enforcer, even though my cabin wasn't under her jurisdiction at all. She pulled up in her shiny SUV, slammed the door so hard the echo bounced through the trees, and marched straight toward my guests with a clipboard in hand. Her opening line? These cabins aren't zoned for outsiders. You're trespassing. My guests froze, confused and embarrassed. Some had driven 10 hours for this getaway, and now they were being told by a stranger they didn't belong. I tried to step in calmly, explaining Karen had no authority here, but she wasn't listening. She pointed at the kids roasting marshmallows and snapped, "If you don't leave immediately, I'll call the police, and believe me, they'll side with me." That's when one of my guests, a tall, quiet man with an air of authority, stood up from his seat. He locked eyes with Karen, completely unfazed by her threats. His voice was calm but carried weight when he said, "Ma'am, you should reconsider your words." Karen scoffed, rolling her eyes. "And who do you think you are? Another rule breaker?" The man didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached into his jacket pocket. For a second, everyone thought he was pulling out a wallet. Karen smirked like she had won. But what he revealed wasn't a wallet. It was a badge. A badge that gleamed under the firelight, stamped with 3 bold letters, FBI. The air shifted instantly. My guests gasped. Karen stumbled back, muttering, This can't be real." But the man wasn't done. He calmly flipped the badge shut and said, "Not just FBI, I'm the director." The forest went silent. The only sound was the fire crackling, flames twisting, as if the night itself knew this moment was bigger than any ordinary argument. And just like that, Karen's threat had gone from laughable to catastrophic. She had no idea who she had just messed with, but we were all about to find out. You'd think that after being confronted by the FBI director himself, Karen would have backed down, apologized, and quietly disappeared into the night. But no, this was Karen we were dealing with. And instead of retreating, she went nuclear. She staggered back a step, visibly rattled, but quickly pulled herself together. Her face hardened, jaw clenched, and she hissed, "You think some fake badge scares me? I've seen people pull tricks like this before. I don't care if you're the Pope himself. These cabins violate HOA standards." My guests stared in disbelief. One mother pulled her kids closer, whispering, "Is this lady serious?" But Karen wasn't just serious. She was furious. She pulled out her phone, dialed furiously, and announced, "I'm calling local law enforcement. We'll see how fast your little act falls apart when the sheriff arrives." The FBI director didn't flinch. He calmly walked toward her, his posture controlled but commanding, and said, "You're making a very serious mistake. I advise you to stop now." Karen snapped back, "You don't intimidate me. I've lived here 15 years, and I know everyone in the county. You're nothing but a squatter protecting trespassers." At this point, tension was boiling. My guests were whispering, half terrified, half awestruck. I tried to mediate, telling Karen once again that these cabins were legally owned, licensed, and not under her HOA's reach. But she just jabbed her finger toward me and shouted, "Quiet! You're the problem here. You think renting out cabins makes you special? I'll get you shut down before the month is over." That's when the FBI director took one slow step closer. His voice dropped lower, controlled but chilling. "Karen, you're interfering with federal personnel. Do you realize what that means?" She scoffed. "Federal personnel? Please. If you were really someone important, you wouldn't be hiding out in a dump like this." And that's when headlights appeared at the edge of the driveway. Karen smirked, convinced it was the sheriff coming to validate her. But when the vehicles rolled closer, the truth dawned on everyone. These weren't county cruisers. They were sleek, unmarked SUVs the kind only used by federal agencies. Doors opened in perfect synchronization. Agents in suits stepped out, scanning the property with sharp eyes. The quiet mountain night transformed into a scene that looked like something out of a spy thriller. My guests were frozen, wide-eyed, realizing this weekend trip had turned into something extraordinary. Karen's phone nearly slipped from her hand as she whispered, "What? What is this?" The FBI director turned to her with a faint, knowing smile. "This," he said, "is me at work." The mountain air felt heavier now, charged with a strange mix of fear and awe. My guests huddled together, whispering in shock as the line of unmarked SUVs idled in the driveway. The agents moved with crisp precision, scanning the area, earpieces gleaming under the firelight. Karen, however, was still clinging to her delusions of authority. She puffed up her chest and barked, "Oh, don't think I'm impressed. You can bring all the actors you want. This whole setup is illegal, and I'll have the county shut it down tomorrow." But one of the agents stepped forward, holding up a folder. His tone was flat but firm. "Ma'am, please remain calm. This property is under observation tonight. You're interfering with an ongoing federal operation." Every jaw dropped, including mine. A federal operation? At my cabin? My mind spun. Was this some kind of undercover mission that had slipped right under my nose? The FBI director nodded slightly, confirming the agent's words. He addressed my stunned guests directly. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the disruption. Your stay here is still safe, but certain security measures are in place. We didn't expect outside interference." Karen laughed. A sharp, mocking sound. "Security measures? Please, you're all liars. I know a scam when I see one, and this is the biggest scam of them all." But her defiance only fueled the tension. Another SUV door shut, and two more agents appeared, setting up a portable case on the hood of a vehicle. Inside were papers, maps, and radio equipment. My guests were now frozen in place, caught between disbelief and fear. The director fixed his eyes on Karen again. His voice, calm but edged with authority, carried across the clearing. "Ma'am, you've crossed a dangerous line. This is no longer about an HOA dispute. You've obstructed a federal team in the middle of classified work." Karen, shaking but still stubborn, spat back. "I don't care if you're running the CIA, the NSA, or whatever alphabet soup you belong to. These cabins don't belong here, and neither do you." Silence followed. Then the director leaned closer, his words low enough that only a few of us could hear. "You have no idea what's at stake tonight, and if you don't leave, you may end up on the wrong side of history." Karen's bravado faltered. For the first time, I saw genuine fear flash across her face. But it was too late. The sound of helicopters thundering in the distance made it clear this night was only getting started. The roar of helicopter blades echoed through the valley, scattering pine needles and rattling the windows of the cabin. My guests clung to one another, their cozy weekend getaway, now resembling the opening scene of a Hollywood thriller. Karen shielded her eyes from the dust, shouting over the noise, "This is insane! You people can't just stage a military circus out here. I'll sue every single one of you." But nobody was paying her any mind anymore. The helicopters descended with precision, spotlights sweeping across the clearing. Ropes dropped, and tactical agents slid down with practiced ease. Within seconds, the peaceful mountain lodge was surrounded. The FBI director, calm as ever, lifted a hand. The team immediately held position, waiting for his signal. He turned toward Karen one last time, his tone measured but final. "You wanted the sheriff. What you got is the federal government at full strength. And whether you like it or not, this property is part of an operation bigger than your entire HOA." Karen's mouth opened, but no words came out. She was trembling now, finally realizing she wasn't in control. Then the truth dropped like a thunderclap. The director addressed everyone present, his voice carrying above the thrum of the helicopters. "For the past 6 months, this cabin has been part of a covert surveillance program. Targets of a major federal investigation have been meeting less than 2 miles from here. Tonight is the night we bring them down." Gasps rippled through my guests. A father muttered, "We were sitting in the middle of this?" While another guest whispered, No wonder security felt so tight. Karen's knees seemed to buckle. She sputtered, This can't be real. I just wanted to protect the neighborhood." The director shook his head. "What you did tonight could have compromised everything. But lucky for you, we intercepted you before any damage was done." With that, he gestured to two agents, who escorted Karen away. Not in handcuffs, but under strict watch. She wasn't being arrested, but she was most definitely being silenced. Meanwhile, the operation kicked into full swing. Agents disappeared into the woods, radios crackling with code words, helicopters shifting to cover positions. The director gave me one final look before joining his team. His words stayed etched in my mind. Sometimes the world's biggest battles are fought in the quietest places. As the night consumed the chaos and the last echoes of Karen's protests faded, one truth became clear. This wasn't just a cabin rental anymore. It had become the front line of a story far bigger than any of us could have imagined. Enjoying this wild Karen versus HOA showdown? Hit that subscribe button to catch more unbelievable neighborhood stories. Give this video a like if you're hooked, and drop a comment. What would you have done if Karen threatened your guests?